it's like, but we look at our country is, we try to say we were founded upon biblical principles. The Bible was infused in the Constitution, but there was so much hate and other stuff in there. So I was like, do we truly have a biblical foundation for this country? You know, because that's what makes all the Christians, you know, who they just side with, you know, with whatever party is going to support Christian beliefs.
Yeah.
And I think that's dangerous because politicians have been very good at manipulating to get votes, to get into office. And it's dangerous. It's dangerous.
Yeah. Yeah, there's been a word of a pastor that we've been watching. He's been using this word entanglement, enmeshment. And he was like, a lot of Christians are entangled. And so our views are entangled with the views of the world. And so if you take a country and you enmesh kind of God in with your opinions and you make it that, then it's like you don't have pure Christianity. You have something that's been mixed and mingled, and it doesn't give the purity of what God would have it to be. And so I think from that, we now live, and people are so, people get more upset, even Christians, they get more upset when you talk about a candidate than if you were to say something about Jesus. And it's almost like they almost see their identity more lined up with a political party or a candidate than the one who they say has saved their soul, transformed their life, forgiven them, and given them a new life. And it's like, but they're, so I think it is very hard. And we have to get back to the place to realize that Jesus, man, I love the story in Joshua where Joshua's outside of the walls of Jericho, and he meets the captain of the host, the Lord's army. And he goes to him and he says, man, who you with? You with them? You with us? And he was like, neither. And I think what he pretty much was saying to Joshua, you better make sure you on my side.
Yes.
Because I'm not taking sides. I've come to take over. And that's what we're doing as the church. We're almost like, God, whose side you on? You on the Republican? You on the Democrats? And I think Jesus would say to us, when I return, I'm not riding an elephant or a donkey. I'm coming back on a white horse, and I'm coming to take over. So you better make sure you with me. And so, yeah, we're and it makes it hard for us to show people Jesus, because when we take Jesus to them, they think Jesus has to be dressed up in some Republican garb or some Democratic garb, and Jesus is not Democratic or Republican. And what we see through both of the parties is we see values that may reflect the heart of God. So when they talk about the unborn, yes, that's the heart of God. But God doesn't just care about the unborn. He cares about the poor. He cares about the homeless. He cares about the elderly. He cares about every man and woman on planet Earth. And so it's like he cares about the immigrant, And so you will see things that reflect the heart of God in both of these parts. Neither one of them encapsulate the full design of God's kingdom.
Right.
And so with the things that agree with God's heart, we stand on those things, but not because it's because of this party, it's because of God's heart. And we can do that. We ought to, as Christians, live in such a way that when we speak, people ought to be scratching their head like, man, that sounded Republican. That sounded Democrat. That sounded libertarian. Because Jesus, when he spit, I think some of his values have been picked up by all, and none encapsulate everything that he was about. And each of them need him.
Yes.
The Republicans need Jesus. The Democrats need Jesus. The independents we all need Jesus.
Everybody. Hollywood needs Jesus.
As the church, we do a disservice, because when I line myself up with a political party, Rodney, you know what I do?
Yeah.
I alienate other people who may be of another political party from receiving Jesus, because they've already got me lined up with this. When it's like, no, I'm not lined up with this, I'm lined up with him.
Yeah.
I'm not taking sides because I'm already on a side.
True.
I'm already been taken.
True.
And I've already chosen a side, and it's with Jesus. So when it comes to even racial issues, Jesus loved the Black community. He sees a community that's hurting, that's broken from centuries of oppression and violence and injustice, and his heart breaks for them. Yeah. And yet Jesus, the one who is just, is also merciful. So I said this a week ago, maybe this might shock some people. I said this on a podcast. I was with some college students. I was like, you know what? As horrendous as the thing that happened with George Floyd was, and it was horrendous. It was wicked. God longs for Derek Chauvin, who had his knee on George Floyd's neck for nearly 9 minutes. He even longs for him to know the mercy of God. He would even long for him to know the forgiveness of God. He would even long for him to know his grace. And so if I get so caught up and I'm mad because of what white people are doing to black people, well, there's some white people that God might want to use me to touch. And one of the ways that they might see that his love is real is that they see this black man who, according to the flesh, should hate them, but I'm showing them nothing but love, and they're blown away by that. They're like, how in the world would you even want to talk to me and share love with me when the things that I've done? So would my heart be so loving that if I were sent into the prison ward where Derek Chauvin is, would I have the heart of Christ to share God's compassion with him? Yeah, he needs God's justice.
Yeah.
But I don't want him to fully get God's justice because he'd end up in hell. Mm-hmm. I deserve God's justice and I deserve hell. Would I extend to him the same mercy that God extended to me? Or would I judge him? Would I become the judge in my heart and condemn him when Jesus didn't come into the world to condemn him, but to save him?